Parasite Eve is easily one of the best games I have played in a long time. It's also one of the most unique for the simple reason that it combines the attributes of a survival horror game with an RPG, which is a very odd mix, making it extremely unique. Uh, During the course of this review, I will discuss what makes this game a survival horror and what makes this game an RPG and why it's pretty much both. Now, the game starts off. The main character, who's called Aya Bree, she is an NYPD officer. She's with a quote-unquote date to the opera. So it starts out extremely innocently, as most survival horror games do. And very, very shortly, the game completely takes a total shift, which is another survival horror attribute. Where you start out innocently enough, and all of a sudden, things completely switch around to a horrible scenario. And, as I said, it's very innocent. They're watching the opera, and the opera play, as a matter of fact, is very, very, foreboding in terms of what's going to happen, just because of how the play transpires and some of the names used and everything. So the actress begins to sing. Again, nothing out of the ordinary yet. Just, listening to an actress sing an opera, no big deal, nothing's gonna happen, right? Wrong, sir. Or ma'am, whatever. And one thing I will say about the game is definitely one of the best looking games on the PlayStation, easily. I mean, the cinematics just look absolutely amazing, especially for the time the game was put out. I mean, this game was put out fairly early in the PlayStation's life. It's not like a late bloomer or anything. It's pretty, awesome. And as I said, things start to get extremely weird. Oh my god! Yes! Everyone starts randomly bursting into flame, which, again, it's one of those things in a survival horror game that is expected to happen when you're playing the game. In survival horror games, it's known that things start off innocent and everything gets so twisted and messed up. And I'm pretty sure people burning alive in a theater is pretty messed up, especially in a scene like this. I mean, it's extremely creepy to see this actress singing and just everyone burning around her. It's so mesmerizing and all in all pretty messed up. But I expect that out of a survival horror. So Aya, being a police officer, confronts the actress, and the actress starts talking extremely weird about stuff, about awakening and all this other stuff. And you find out later what she's talking about, but at the time you're pretty confused, which again is the idea. And the battle system is one of the most unique attributes of the game, because it's similar to Final Fantasy XII, only it doesn't suck. And I'll get into why a bit later. So the actress floats off, which is also extremely weird and out of the ordinary, and after confronting an extremely creepy girl and watching a rat mutate horribly into a creepy-ass monster, you eventually reach the actress's room, and you learn her name is Melissa Pierce. And you read her diary, very, very rude, but whatever, and find out that she's trying to get this part, and she's got a drug problem and all this other stuff. It's, you learn a lot about the character, which sort of helps the next scene a lot. Also, one minor note, this game is also one of those games where stuff is placed in so many weird locations. I don't know why there's 6 bullets in the actress's closet, but you know what? I don't give a damn. I want bullets. I need to shoot shit. So whatever. Anyway, upon confronting Melissa, she starts talking, and it appears she's fighting with herself. She's fighting off whatever's trying to take her over, and this thing identifies itself as Eve. And Melissa is trying to fight it off, and she loses, and it sort of makes you feel bad for her in a way, which is something a survival horror game really should do. It's one of those games that should connect you with the characters. RPGs do the same thing, so, I mean, it combines both two forms of games that connect you with the characters. So this game does that extremely well. And then you watch her, again, horribly mutate. There are a lot of really weird mutations in this game, too. I kid you not. It's also, I mean, some of them are pretty sort of sickening, honestly. I mean, I can deal with them, but I can see why people might get, it's creepy. It's a really creepy ass game, and you know. But it's a survival horror game, so what do you expect? And you fight her again using battle system. And in the next part, you chase her into the sewer, and this is where you encounter these supposed random battles, which as it turns out aren't actually random. If you die once and go back, you'll discover that the battles are actually placed. So at first though, they will appear to be random, but in fact they're not, and you have no choice but to do them. Or you can run, but it seems to be extremely difficult to run, and you probably don't want to do that anyway, because usually the battles are pretty easy. And you know, you can use items and everything. Again, another RPG aspect and leveling up too. And you end up chasing her down the sewer, and she does some extremely weird stuff. And you learn more about her and the fact that she's got very very strange powers. That like what she's doing right now, morphing into gel, which she'll use to pass. Yeah, it's this is an odd game. I'll say that the creatures do some pretty weird ass stuff, but I guess that comes to be expected, and it makes the game a lot better in my opinion. So she's obviously got through the iron bars. So what are you gonna do? Nothing. You can't chase after her. But you do get attacked, and this is where you encounter, in my personal opinion, the first true boss fight. You did fight Eve before this, but that really wasn't a boss fight at all because she was too easy. It got you used to the gameplay aspects and everything. This is the first true boss. It's a horribly mutated crocodile or alligator, it appears. Well, it's could be both. But yeah, again, horribly mutated, has electrical powers, which is not normal either. And one thing I will say is also the bosses in the game are extremely good. Uh, and the monsters in general, in fact. There's just so many unique creatures you face down. There's not very many repeating enemies. I mean, later in the game you'll discover some enemies repeating, but overall there's a wide range of monsters for you to fight, which is excellent. Especially, you know, again, that's another RPG aspect, and you know, some survival horror games. You'll fight snakes. You know, you're gonna fight birds of death, which I hate for that matter because they're so annoying. Satanic polar bears. A lot of the monsters are messed up. Giant worms of doom, which are a real pain in the ass. And this is one of the bosses, which is a Cerberus-like creature. And this is one of the fights that it really affects you on an emotional level because of what transpired prior to this fight. See, you're not just fighting some random creature this fight, you're fighting one of the police dogs. And that's not necessarily the problem. The thing is, prior to this, the police dog had befriended a little boy named Ben. And during the course of the police dog mutating, the police dog's trying to run away from Ben. It seems like the police dog's trying not to hurt Ben because it knows it's getting taken over. And Ben keeps chasing after the police dog, and the police dog's just trying to get away from him, and it seems like, you know, it doesn't want to hurt Ben. And you know, eventually the police chief tries to shoot the dog, whose name is Shiva, by the way. But it's kind of too late. The dog ends up mutating right in front of the little boy, and it just rips your heart out. It really affects you, or it should. You know, as an animal lover, it really affected me. It's a creepy mutation too, which adds to the effect. And you know, the game really should do that type of thing. As a survival horror, I would expect that it should affect you on an emotional level. Survival horror games are supposed to do that, and RPGs for that matter. And again, this game is both. So, and this is also one of the tougher fights. For the simple reason that this boss has a very, very annoying habit. Because it's so large and the arena and the fighting, the area you're fighting is so small, it is a very, very annoying habit of backing you into walls and just destroying your ass. And this is see, right there, that bullshit. What the hell am I supposed to do? Sometimes you can't even get out of it, and that's just annoying as hell to me. And that is one of the problems of this game. I'm not going to say this game is perfect by any means, and that's one of the problems. The regular monsters, and especially large bosses like this, have a bad habit of doing that, and there's really no way to get out of it. There's either two things that are going to happen: A, the boss backs down and you manage to escape, or B, you die. One of the two, and it's just infuriating. And as for fighting, well, you can actually dodge some attacks, which is why the battle system is a crapload better than the way FF12 is set up. Because like I said before, it's similar to FF12, only you can dodge attack, making it a lot more fun. If I'm going to be able to move, I should be able to dodge, in my opinion. Of course, some of the attacks are hard as hell to dodge, especially that laser. It turns out to be a pain in the ass. And, but you can get past it. These are all minor problems I'm talking about, so it's really not too big a deal. But like I said about, fighting on small arenas and getting backed into walls and stuff, this is one of the fights against Eve, one of the many fights against Eve. And you're fighting on a horse-drawn carriage. There's literally no way for you to move effectively, and being that, there's no way to dodge any attacks, so you end up healing a lot in this fight. It's just hard as hell. But moving on from that, there's a lot of different characters. Daniel, for example. Daniel will pwn you! Yeah, he does that. Daniel's cool. He's he's pretty much the main supporting character throughout the entire game. You also meet another character named Dr. Clamp, who's more of a villain. He's one of the main villains besides Eve. At first, because he seems suspicious at first, and later in the game, you just know as soon as you meet him he's going to be a problem. But he tells you basically what's going on. It gives you a general idea of what's going on. He talks about the mitochondria. The mitochondria is what caused Eve. The mitochondria is the entire issue throughout the entire game of Parasite Eve. The mitochondria are intelligent, and basically in Eve's case, they've mutated to a point where they've taken over the physical body, Melissa. And now they're trying to get the other mitochondria throughout all the other organisms to, turn into their mutated form and basically spawn. It's an extremely complex explanation, and really, in order to get a good idea of what they're talking about, but essentially the mitochondria are betraying us in this game, and that's a pretty creepy idea. I mean, that really is. There's also another character called Dr. I think you pronounce it Maida, but I could be wrong. But he's a scientist from Japan. And this leads up to actually the game is actually based off a Japanese horror film, which I've seen is not really that scary. It's actually more heart-wrenching than anything. But, yeah, it's basically the same thing happened in Japan, only not to this certain degree, and he's come over here to try to help because he was involved in the incident in Japan. So, yeah, just a bit of a fun fact there. The game is based off a movie. Also, much like an RPG, there's an extensive way to customize your equipment and weapons. There's upgrades, and there's ways to there's items you get, which are very specific, known as tools. That's all they're called. The Incredible Item Tool, which actually lets you customize your different equipment, and it's an extremely interesting idea, and it does work extremely well. I quite like the tool function. It lets you customize your own character. It's a bit too complex in my opinion, but not so much that, it's a pain. Also, one of the issues I have with the game, there is one more big issue. It's probably the biggest issue I had, because all the other issues were very minor. This is one of the things that drove me insane. Not that it's really a problem with the gameplay, but the game mocks you. You go to a gun shop, and Daniel says, go ahead, pick out anything you want, pretty much. Well, I want this assault rifle on the wall. Can I have this assault rifle on the wall? No! The answer is no! Can I have this shotgun here? No. So basically the game says, we could give you these weapons, but we're not going to. And it would be one thing if Daniel didn't tell you, just pick out whatever you want. But I can't pick out whatever I want. If he didn't say that, it wouldn't really be a problem, but what the hell? Come on! I mean, this part of the game, all you get out of this is some ammunition, which is good, a tool, a range upgrade, and a pistol. That's it! No shotgun, no assault rifle, there's even a missile launcher here. Nothing! The game is basically mocking you in this part, and I guess looking past it, it's okay. But come on! Why do you have to mock me, game? Why must you do that? That's just mean. I'm sorry. That really is. And you also go to a pharmacy, which essentially does the same thing, where you say, oh, get whatever you want, and you don't get to get whatever you want. Of course, I can forgive the pharmacy, because I really don't think cough drops or a hairspray is going to assist me against the mitochondria taking over my body. So, in this, and I can forgive the pharmacy, but I mean, with the gun shop, why the fuck couldn't I just pick out what I wanted? Damn it! Ugh. In general, I love this game, though. Sure, it's got some problems, but no game is perfect in my opinion. And actually, I had a lot of trouble finding problems with the game to complain about. I really couldn't find much wrong. Now, one thing I will say, this probably isn't a game for casual gamers. Because it requires a lot of running around, a lot of tedious work, and a lot of finding out what the fuck to do. Uh, and, yeah. So I don't think casual gamers are going to have a lot of fun with the game, and in that aspect I can understand, but I think hardcore and underground gamers like myself will thoroughly enjoy the game, and I strongly recommend it, finding a copy and at least giving it a try. Because it's one of those lost games. I mean, you hear all about Resident Evil, Silent Hill, the greatest survival horror games ever. But I love Parasite Eve. And, I like the main character. Aya, she's one of the few female video game characters that does not need big boobs in order to be cool. No offense to Lara Croft fans out there, but Lara Croft is half fan service. But yeah. Hope you enjoyed the review, guys. See you later.